Hey, everybody. It's Pastor Steph, and it is time for my 2 cents. Pastor Steph?
Dantes.
Ainsley Harris, that Brooklyn guy.
All righty. Oh, so we saw y'all 2 weeks ago when we reviewed Conclave and what's the other movie we reviewed? Oh, Emilia Perez and The Substance. And ooh, that was some experience, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, some experience.
Yeah. We got to give you an update. So we were doing a reviews for the Oscars, and we ended up getting rerouted. And I'll tell you all about it at the end. We'll talk to you about it at the end. And maybe you can throw in your 2 cents regarding that topic. Okay? So make sure if you're in the room, you check in. You know how we do. We got to say hello. I don't know if you're in the room unless you're checking. So let's say, as always, our first check-in is with Miss Ketty. Hey, Ketty. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us. And we are getting a check-in from our girl, Teresa. Hey, Teresa. Thank you so much for joining us. So call a friend, whether you know the movies we're reviewing or not. Hang out with us. You know, we like to talk now. You know, we'll talk amongst ourselves, but we always like to talk to you. Okay? So the first movie tonight we are reviewing is Back in Action. And that's the movie with Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz. And the official synopsis: former CIA spies Emily and Matt are pulled back into espionage after their secret identities are exposed. And I think we started last time with Shantice, and we did ladies first. So this week, we're going to start on the highlights for you in Back in Action. Brother Ainsley.
All right, Back in Action. You know, I just had to review it again. It's kind of fresh in my memory. And this is something kind of different. Most of the time, when I fall asleep on a movie, I fall asleep when I first watch it. But now watching it again, to refresh my memory, I fell asleep watching it for the second time. So, but it is still, overall, I think it's a nice movie to watch at home. Interaction, a lot of action, you know, espionage, and there's some nice, funny, humorous scenes in it. And I think it's a nice flick, generally, to to watch. To me, you know, even they got Jamie Foxx, Cameron Diaz, and what's the name who played the mother, Emily's mother. But to me, what was that?
Glenn Close.
Glenn Close. Yeah, Glenn Close. Yeah. But I think the one person who really kind of stole the movie to me was Nigel. And his things in there.
Yeah.
He's the one, like, you know, sometimes there's that one role that kind of like, okay, you know. I thought it was pretty, overall, I think it was pretty cool. It's all right. It's nice. It's a nice movie to watch, just to check out. When you got
okay, well, that's a synopsis. What, any highlights of the movie?
Highlights. Oh, okay, my bad. Okay. I like the interaction with the kids. Like, first, you know, how first, you know, the daughter is like, oh man, they think their parents are so lame. They're so like, oh, we know you're lying to us and whatnot. And I like the scene when they're on the plane, and they were saying, you know, this is how you raise good kids. We gotta lie to them straight to their face. And I thought that was like pretty cool. Because at first you think, no, I ain't lie to your kids, and then sometimes you gotta think, are you lying to your kids straight to their face? It was pretty cool. I think the that's pretty much to me that one of the things I kind of humor that when Nigel he's going to teach the young him some uh, espionage scene. He said, "I'm going to run towards you, and you do the first thing that comes to your mind." And he's like, "What? No, no, just do the first thing that comes to your mind." When he runs to him, that guy he just punches him in his gut. And when he just balls over, he said, "Oh man, your fist was so small, it hit right between my ribs," and and his reaction to that. So I thought it was a nice little one of the little scenes that make you go chuckle a little bit. 'Cause a lot of times movies it's supposed to be funny, but you just look at it like
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
to me there was no really breakout like scenes that made me go like that, but it was a lot of little nuggets, little things here and there, but it was enough to keep you going.
Okay. Okay. Shantice,
Yes.
what highlights? Highlights.
Uh, I loved when the parents had to go and get the daughter out the club. Loved it. Loved it because they were so passive. The father was so afraid of the daughter. The mother wasn't afraid, but she always felt like she was walking on eggshells because she's trying to keep this close connection and bond with her daughter. So it's like, I don't care about saying the wrong thing, but I don't want to say the wrong thing because I don't want her to pull further away from me. But in that moment, it was just like, whatever. We gonna get this job done. So I love that. Oh, another highlight, I think, would be when the guys came to get them from the grandmother's house, from Cameron Diaz's mother's house, and just the interaction with the young guy she was dating. He was funny.
Nigel, that's
Nigel,
what
yeah,
Nigel was
Nigel.
talking about.
Yes, he was funny. He was also funny when they kept telling him to close the port or whatever it was. They were telling him to close in the water.
Like the dam, yeah.
Yeah, and he didn't know, and you done knocked the woman out, but now you asking her to wake up so she can tell you how to cook. It's like, and I'm sitting there like, okay, but if she wake up, you really think she gonna answer you?
Right.
Yeah, so those were like the main funny parts for me.
Okay. So back in action is about two spies who they are just close friends and they're partners, and they find out that they're pregnant right in the middle of a situation. And because the situation is so hazardous, as always, they decide to kind of quit this life. So they have two children. One's a teen, he must be about 9 or 10, the little boy. And they've been living regular lives. And now that they're living regular lives, they now are approached by, the old boss about a key that they took back before, the children were born, and they were in the midst of this craziness. Well, it's really hilarious because it's the same typical issue with kids. Bratty, teen, little nerdy boy, if you will. And like Shantice and Ainsley have said, it's amusing. It keeps your attention. It's not full of laughs, but it definitely keeps you wanting to know, what is going to happen next. There's a reuniting of Cameron Diaz's character with her mother, which is Glenn Close. And you see the dynamics of their relationship and the dynamic between Cameron Diaz, and her daughter. I definitely agree that Nigel was the funny angle here. I do like the interaction between Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz. I do think they made a good pair.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely.
A good partnership.
Great.
you know, even as partners and then later as parents, you know,
Great
even though it
chemistry.
was right, the chemistry was really good. And they seemed like they were friends as well as good parents. And
Yeah.
like they were on the same page. So it really made that much more interesting. It was definitely action packed. You're
Mm-hmm.
talking about back in action. Oh yeah, it was definitely action packed. I like the way they deal with the kids. Like Shanti said, although there's some, you know, Jamie Foxx doesn't want to step on his daughter's toes. You know, mom is like, listen, I'm tired, you know, of walking on eggshells here and just trying to figure out how to navigate around their relationship and the daughter being so temperamental. And so it was a really good. Glenn Close was a nice addition to
Yes.
the team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's still hanging out, y'all. She's still doing her thing after all
Yeah.
these years. And I think she really did
Didn't lose a
a
step.
really good job. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
anything I've seen her in recently, she's done a really good job. She's not slacking. It's not time to put her out to pasture. She's still doing her thing. And she
Mm-hmm.
looks good. Oh
Mm-hmm.
gosh. She looks good. I don't know if she's had any uh uh what do you call
Plastic
it?
surgery.
Yeah, but she looks good.
She
It doesn't
did.
look like it.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And she
I mean,
looks
that's
good.
why she looks good. She's never had nothing done.
Right, because I don't think they realize. I think when you start messing with your face and stuff like, they start aging quicker. I don't know,
Yeah.
It
but
does.
she looks really really good. She did her thing. You don't see a lot of familiar faces in this movie. Even the children seem to be new, you know,
Mm-hmm.
newcomers. But it wasn't a bad cast. Cast was
Right.
good. Cast was good. So, you know, it wasn't where it was like, it actually held your interest. Let's go to any down points, any downsides, any for you, Ainsley?
Um. No, it really wasn't any downside. I mean, the action. The action things. Of course, we know. Okay, nothing was really so over the top. I was like, oh, come on. But it really a lot of action stuff is like, oh, come on. But it wasn't like grossly like, come on, come on, yeah, that's really totally over the top. You
Okay.
know, um, that's what you expect from the kind of, I guess, a bigger budget action, thing. Like for example, at the end when a boat crashes into the dam, it wasn't like overly dramatic. But so it was nothing I could say that's like a down point, so to speak. But
Okay.
it was just like it kept me going. It kept me going. But there was no real valleys, to say like that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Shantice, any downside to the movie?
I agree. I don't remember any real slow parts. Nothing that really had me like, all right, how am I going to get through the rest of this movie? It kind of, the storyline pretty much kept you like, okay, what's going to happen in the next scene? What's going to happen in the next scene? Especially, once they went and got the daughter from the club, and it's like, okay, so how is this going to continue to play out? And then once they introduced Glenn Close and Nigel, then it was really like, okay, how is this gonna, and now they're trying to figure out how they're gonna find the kids, so on and so forth. So no, I agree. There weren't like any real slow points, any real dull points. Yeah, so I think this is like one of the first movies where it's like, okay, not really the highlights weren't like, oh, but there weren't any real like, bleh, like jaw dropping dull moments.
Okay.
Now I think there is one kind of like highlight moment, is supposedly their friend Chuck, and the one who actually sees them from getting the daughter out of the club. The one who comes to the house, and it looked like he gets shot in the head. But come to find out, he's actually the one really behind the whole thing in the first place. He pops up alive. He was like, "Oh, I thought you was dead." No, you alive.
Wow.
And now you alive. You the one behind everything. And the person you thought who was the one behind it wasn't. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Anika says, I like the fight scene on the plane. It started out with a lot of action, and it did. It
Yeah.
did. But like you said, it wasn't this unbelievable level of action, like, oh, they could have done without that or whatever.
Right.
It did. It started out good. Hey, Mama Harris. We got a shout out from Mrs. Harris. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome. Downsides. I don't remember any either. I think the momentum stayed, the same. There was, like Shanti said, there were no valleys. Everything pretty much held my attention. Again, wanting to know, okay, so how are we gonna go from here? Where are we gonna go from here? So it was good. It was good. I don't see any downsides either. Kick it or click it, Shantice.
I'd say click it. Oh wait, where's my remote? I'm sorry.
I get my remote too.
Click it. You can click it.
Okay. Ainsley, click it or kick it.
I say give it a click. Give it a click. Give it a click.
Okay. Okay. And Nika says the daughter was annoying in the beginning. She was annoying throughout the whole movie. I'm sorry. No. She was annoying straight. Again, another one of these bratish teenagers. Everything she saw her parents doing, it was just a complaint. A complaint. And that seems to be all the movies these days. If you got a teenage kid, they complain about everything. So I'm glad to see that there was a turnaround, and it doesn't seem like there's any other endings but the kids turning around. After you saw your parents doing all of this, defending themselves and defending you really don't come around. What's wrong with you? So,
Right.
So, yeah, so she was brat through the whole movie as far as I'm concerned. Mrs. Harris says it was a good movie. Okay. So I guess we get a click it from her. I say go ahead and click it. I think it's worth watching. If it's not, if it's nothing else on TV, but I think it's worth going directly to Netflix and looking for Back in Action. Okay. So, Anika, what you say? Click it or kick it?
And I think this is the movie that he was filming when he got sick.
Oh, okay.
It was?
Yeah, because it was a movie they kept saying a movie with him and Cameron Diaz. This is the only movie he's come out with Cameron Diaz.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But my thing was, how was y'all about to replace him in mid-production when he was the main character?
Right. Couldn't have done that.
So he was in mid-production. He had to go back and start filming it again. I thought he was finished, and then he got sick.
There was talk because he got sick during mid-production.
Wow.
There was talk that they were going to replace him.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
How are you gonna do that?
Were you going to do a stunt double for the whole remainder of the movie?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know how that was going to work, but yeah, that's what the talk was.
That's interesting.
That would have been whack.
Right.
It would be interesting to know, like, what, did they shoot it more? Most of the time they shoot that stuff out of sequence, depending on where they at and stuff like that. So you kind of wonder, like, you like to know what was done before he got sick, what was done after he got sick.
Right.
But looking at it, you can't tell.
Right. Because the whole movie was action based.
Yeah.
Betty says click it, and Anika says click it. She found it very funny. Okay. All right. The next movie, Rob Peace, also streaming on Netflix. Shantice, you got first dibs at this. Highlights for Rob Peace. Oh, wait. You got raised by his devoted mother, a brilliant young man risks everything he's worked for to free his imprisoned father. Talk about everything except for the ending.
Well, I actually started watching this a few months ago, and I'm just now finishing it. I liked to see the initial bond between the father and the son, and then unfortunately the bond got broken, of course, once the father got locked up. To see this young kid, the mother's like, I don't care what happened with your father, you getting an education, and him being able to go to that private school and really excel academically, and then even going to college. I think those were some of the highlights, and of course, watching how we just allow life to dictate our movements, even when our better judgment says no. But because we're so devoted and committed, I really, really, really liked his girlfriend. When he was in college, he had a girlfriend, and she wasn't with what he was doing she wasn't even with the idea of him being so consumed with, how am I going to help my father? How am I going to help my father? And she's like, listen, I get that's your father, but what about your life? You're young, you're smart, you're a Black man at Yale. You need to get this together and figure out how you're going to live your life. And his mother was saying the same thing to him. But there was just this undying loyalty and devotion to his father that just allowed him and encouraged him to make all of these stupid, reckless choices. And it's like, we just gotta be the statistics, right? We just have to fit in the stereotypes. So I think those were the most interesting parts for me, to see there are young women, because I was another young woman, who are not afraid to tell. And that's something that these men need a lot of, whether it's scripted or in real life. Someone who's not afraid to let you know, you're being dumb right now. You're being dumb. You're being reckless. I don't care how it makes you feel. Realize what you're doing, and not, being quiet because I don't want to hurt my boyfriend's feelings, or I don't want to get on his bad side. Like that was a real highlight for me, because it's like, yes, however you were raised, and whatever connection you still have with your family is giving you that courage to be able to say, this ain't working and I will not be a part of it. And if more young women saw this, then they would see how it can be done.
Okay. All right. Ainsley, Rob Peace. Highlights.
Yeah, highlights. There was a couple things. First of all, the first highlight, because I saw the synopsis of this movie and I was like, okay, I'll watch it at some point in time. It didn't go exactly how I thought it was going to go. And first of all, and know that this is based on a true story. I like stuff that's based on a true story.
Mm-hmm.
And and sometimes from how things are going, you think how it's going to go and how it's going to end, and then go exactly how it's going to end. I'm surprised by that, but also we ain't going to talk about the ending right now. But so watching it, I had no clue who else was in it, and lo and behold, I see Mary J in it. I was like, I already know how y'all gonna go with this one already. Already know. All right. I was hoping she hold it up. But anyway, there was a couple of nice things in there, because first of all, it showed I like the dynamic he really has with both his mother and his father. First thing right off the top, when the father goes to see him, and he gets in the car and he's quizzing him about percentages and the numbers and stuff like that. So apparently, he had that interaction. He's stimulating his brain, mathematically, and stuff like that. And even with his mother, we're talking about how we're gonna pay for this school, and if I bring this amount of money in, and he was like doing the math on it. So to me, both his parents was kind of really playing on him off of his skills. His genius, if you will. But I like though his way of it like one thing the white lady professor said, being that he comes from a particular background, that he provides a more of a radical thinking
Mm-hmm.
in the science and stuff, which is a little bit actually more of an advantage instead of thinking like the norm, like everybody else is. It was kind of pointing how to me how that point came across, and how even though he came from basically the hood, he was able to navigate, you know, the other side of the fence. Everybody to come together and smoke weed
Mm-hmm.
and drink and stuff like that. He was able to navigate. He seemed, uh, both sides and wanted to get people to come
Right,
together.
right. Balance the two.
Balance the two, yeah. He had
Mm-hmm.
to good for the talk, and so I thought that was really, uh, really, really, really interesting. Without getting to the end.
Okay, okay. I like it. I like the dynamic, like you said, with the parents. Um, First off, we do see a few more familiar faces than in Back in Action. I cannot pronounce his name. His name is Chiwetel Ejiofor. I think that's how you say it. But he's the one who starred in 12 Years a Slave. For
Mm-hmm.
those of you
Right,
who
right,
know.
right.
Um, the lead role, Rob Peace, was played by Jay Will. He's pretty much a newcomer. Haven't seen him a lot. As Ainsley said, you got Mary J playing the mother. You see Mare Winningham. Now you know her face. You know her face from other movies. She plays the professor at Yale. You have Michael Kelly, who I love. I love Michael Kelly.
Who was
He
that?
plays he plays the like the priest
Oh, okay.
at
Oh,
the
okay.
Benedict's. I like him a lot.
On the prep
And
school.
you've got the guy, I do not know how to pronounce his name, but he comes from The Wire. He's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
from The Wire. What's his name? Right hand man, the one who came up
The
young.
neighbor,
Uh,
the one who was living in the father's house.
no,
No,
not
no,
the,
no,
not
no.
the corner boys, not the corner boys. What was the name of?
No, the grown man in this movie who was living in the father's house. Remember he
Yes, the uncle.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. He's here. He's in it. Let's see. We have not many other faces that we would recognize, but it was to be a true story. It was a very interesting journey, to see how he, like Ainsley said, how he balanced being street, being from the hood, and managing to be so good in the private school that they offer him a scholarship to Yale. And that's because his parents were kind of nurturing this whole, his intelligence and his intellect. And you could clearly see that neither one of them were on that level, but it did not stop them from, talking and mom, especially for pushing here. Highlights. Woo! Highlights. I don't know if I want to call it a highlight, but it would be a highlight for me. Where you have him in Yale and he manages to mix it up with all the other kids. He's on the water polo team.
Mm-hmm.
He's managing to get the woman professor's attention, where he's doing so well, where she's pushing to get him in different projects in the school. And he's from the hood, but you would never know. You would never know he was from the hood because he manages to excel well. Still very respectful, still didn't act hood. And that was, to me, that was a highlight. Highlight was his relationship with his friends, his two friends. They were intelligent, not like him, but one is going to Morehouse and the other friend is into real estate. So they could not hold up to his intellect, but they were, still friends where
Mm-hmm.
I can still chill with you. We can still talk about our aspirations. They worked together to get a whole realty project off the ground, and
Yeah.
they did well. They did well. He definitely had the gift of gab. He definitely had the gift of gab, where he got people to do exactly what he wanted them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I mean, managing to strategize to get his father freed the first go round.
Yeah. At a
And
young
yet,
age too, real young age.
Yes.
right. And he manages to get this done. And then unfortunately the father has to go back because they appeal it as always. But just watching this young man accomplish so much at such an early age, he was determined to make something of himself. He was determined, with the help of those who cared and believed in him, not just his parents, not just his mother and father, not but the teachers and the professor and things like that. They helped push him. And like Ainsley said, I think it was Ainsley, on the other side of the fence, these were people who weren't Black but who could see his potential and did not mind investing in him.
Right.
So this was really was encouraging to watch from a highlight side. All right, downside, Shantice.
Downside was the decisions that were being made, that, like you said, he was so good at having the gift of gab that he talked himself into doing stuff that he knew he had no business doing. Like, there was a scene where he was literally like, where it was him narrating, and he was like contemplating, should I, shouldn't I, shall I, shan't I, do I do it this much or just a little bit, a lot of much or a little bit. And it was just like, if we have to debate with ourselves for that long, most likely we ain't got no business doing it. And actually, real quick, as I'm talking about the downside, another highlight was him making sure he got his friends out of the illegal stuff before he got himself. Like, he didn't just say, okay, I'm good now, I don't care what position y'all in, it's time to shut it down, or y'all can stay if y'all want, but I'm out. He really made sure he took care of those he asked for help, because he couldn't do it by himself, and he felt like he owed them. And a big downside, and I think this is like the moral of this whole story, of this whole movie, and this young man's life, is understanding where your loyalty really lies. A lot of times we make our own decisions that are bad decisions, and then we're loyal to the bad decisions. Mm-hmm. And our loyalty to those bad decisions then lead us into a whole whirlwind of chaos and destruction. But because we feel so obligated to help that person, place, or thing, it just messes us up. So what, whether it was his friends at Yale, his friends in the hood, his father, and that's where his mother, his girlfriend, kept trying to tell him, like, you just need to focus on you and the opportunities that you're getting right now. If you do that, you will be able to help yourself and people way more than what you could think. But you trying to keep yourself bottled into your immediate surroundings, it's admirable, but it's messing you up. So I think that's the biggest downside for me, is it's like, it's like once they got to certain things, like he was in and then he got out, and then you had the 2008 market crash in the real estate, and then now we gotta get back in. I was like, oh no, you're not about to get back in this again. Like, I understand the whole, and I remember a lot of people being jacked up at that time, because you had a lot of mortgage companies handing out mortgages that they knew they shouldn't be handing out. People stuck with these loans and debt, going in debt so bad. But now you're just like making matters worse, because now again it's this whole contemplating thing where he had to talk his friends into getting back into the illegal,
right.
So that they can get get back up, come up again, and then come out. And they were like, yo, you sure we can do this? I don't know. One friend got a kid. The other one, he kind of down for whatever, but he just want to make sure they're able to do this. You know, and it's just like, no, we're not doing this again. We're not going to fall into the statistics. So at one point, you're providing all these homes for the neighborhood, and now you're going to sell poison to the neighborhood. Like, which one is it going to be? Can't do both. But yeah, I think that's the biggest downside. It's just like, learn where your loyalty really belongs, or stuff like this can happen.
Okay. Ainsley, some of the downsides.
A lot what Shatise has said, you know, to me the downside is, yeah, he down for your community, down, you know, you want to help the people you came up with and stuff like that. I think the downside is knowing when you need to step off. And there was one point, like, to me as a man, I'm like, okay, yeah, of course, who wants to be in jail? And, you know, for I don't know how long it was, life, whatever case may be. But at a certain point, man, you know, why would I want to hold my son back?
Right.
Because of my situation.
Right.
Even if I ain't do it. But that's my son. I'm going to hold him to, I know his brilliance. I know he's skillful. He's in Yale. Right. You know, the future is bright for him. Why? At some point, I was like, I think it becomes too selfish that now I'm going to like lean on him that much that you got to take care of me. You know, to me, I had a problem with it. Like, at some point, you got to, you know, let your child thrive when they can, and he's right there. And I had a problem with that. But yeah, with Rob, you know, like Shanti said, when he was out, now you're brilliant. The professor, the white professor, now have some doing assistance with the graduate work with the laboratory.
Right.
Now he's using that. Now he's running a drug system. He's making the marijuana even more potent, and he's maintaining all of this brilliance and stuff like that. At some point in time, even though you think, okay, only the white boy is going to get, you know, they're going to get caught. That's the thing. Then when people don't think they're ever going to get caught, everything's going to, you know, I can get out at a certain period of time. I don't know too many people get out. They know when exactly when they get out. You know, they only get out when they die or go to jail. And so, and eventually it really caught up with him. And I think the sad point is not knowing when. So, okay, you went back, you got the property stuff going, you know, at some point, I think he needs to step off and listen, be a little bit more selfish. I think at one point he started to, but I think it's a bit too late. And to me, that's the down point, if you will, and within the storyline. Storyline is great. I actually was thinking that, I don't want to say it now, but I actually was thinking that the father he going to find him not guilty. I was expecting, you know, he's going to find evidence and get the thing overturned. He's going to come out. I kept waiting for that, you know. Okay. And I realized that I'm like, okay, he's been in there. Right. We just started in 1987. Then we go 94, 98. Years are going past. It's like, when are you going to get him out? And it didn't happen, you know, like that. And it was interesting when he had finally asked him, his father, did you do it? Right. And the father, like, doesn't really matter at this point. He said, I'm dying now. You know, it doesn't really matter. And I'm like,
can we please meditate on that scene?
Yeah.
So selfish. The father really showed how selfish he was.
What is with it with men? I'm sitting here and I'm watching. I'm like, what was so hard in just saying yes or no? This is the one person who has been riding with you.
Yeah.
How could you not just say yes or again? Somebody else and call me insensitive. I wouldn't have cared nothing about you having no brain cancer. You sitting up, you get beside yourself with me in a moment like that, and I've been risking everything, whether you ask me to or not, but you ain't tell me to stop, and you can't give a simple yes or no, you would. I'm just like, what is with men? What is the so? There's a man here.
Is that just a man issue? Come on now.
No. Listen.
Because a woman would have said it. A woman would have said it.
Even
a woman would have told.
Even if a woman was upset that you asked, you would have gotten that definitive answer. If it was, I did it. If it was, I did it. Yeah, I did it because he did such and such and such. I have to take care of my business. Or how could you ask me that? No, I didn't do it. Men.
This is just a Hollywood thing. You know,
No.
Nah.
Where are the men in the chat? No. That is a
Sir
man.
Ainsley.
Had it been me, I would have been like, yeah, I did it. I'm surprised you got to ask me that.
You are
Well,
one out
I'm
of
gonna
the
let
9
you
million
My
men.
other brother would be like, nah, come on now. But mind you, it's just this guy. He's being selfish. He's playing this kid to stay with him all the time. He's holding it to the hilt. I mean, yeah, we found out later on that he really didn't do it. But still, what's wrong with saying, nah, I ain't do it?
Right. Especially when you didn't do it. Especially when you didn't
You
do
would
it.
do all of that to be innocent anyway. You don't.
I mean, you lying in the bed.
That's what.
Like, come on, really? You know, I'm like, come on now. You know, all that really necessary?
I was wondering too.
I'm like,
I'd have been sitting there. See, the son got up and left. You'd have been doing all that. And Pastor Steph, no, because she has done that in the hospital for less. Let her ask me to bring her something to eat, and I say no. And she all up in arms. And by the time she turned back around, I'm sitting there. You done? Now let's start over. What would you like to eat? It's just like, why are you going through all of this? This is a man. Again, this is based on a true story. This is a man thing. Instead of you just saying yay, or this is why we gotta live by the Bible. People don't be thinking they need Jesus. Let your yays be yays and your nays be nays. Just say yes or no. We gotta go through this whole dramatic.
It was that simple.
Right. Like, come on.
Goodness.
And you can tell it was a poignant moment. You know, it was like,
right.
Look, we got this right here. We got to be real right now.
Right.
Any other time, yo, right now, you need to say the truth. What's going on?
Right. Which wasn't too much for him to ask.
No, not him.
It wasn't too much for him to ask.
Exactly.
He said, listen, I just need to know. He was very upfront about it. He says, listen, I need to know. I deserve to know. Forget about the need. I deserve to know. And, you know, he says, and here's what I love. He says, we've never talked about it.
Right.
Bravo. He says, we've never talked about it. There's always been this assumption. There's always been, we've tap danced around this issue or the truth or false, but we've never talked about it. And people don't understand that that's how important this is. And for me, that was the downside. The downside was this boy gave up everything.
Yep.
You talk to him when he was in the jail, and he said twice, once on the phone and once on the visit. And he was like, well, you all I got. And I'm saying to myself, well, wait a minute now. All you got, you talking to me like this? Oh no.
I wasn't with you in the gym.
Oh.
Literally.
Yeah, you can call me. I hung up the phone. Come on now. Come on.
You all I got. I'm like, well, you're not acting like it. This boy has been in your corner, and you're speaking to him as though he was your partner in crime.
Right.
Exactly.
He has nothing to do with where you are. He has nothing to do with why you're there at all. He has nothing to do with the results. You didn't even credit him for getting you out the first go round. And like you said, Ainsley, to see my son carry all this weight, you're trying to go to Yale or college or kindergarten, and I'm burdening you with all of this. Who shot John? Am I out? Oh, no. The part about get the money. Can't you get your white friends?
Yeah, exactly.
Can't you get your rich friends? Yo, you just straight out of control.
Yeah, that's the part I was like, that's that individual. I would, to me, that's my point. I was like, at some point you have to be like, yo, listen, you got to go live your life. I mean, you up in here, I'm up in here, I'm up in here. It's been years, nobody wanted to be in there.
Yeah,
but still,
that was just that was too much.
I had a problem. I was like, you got to let your kid, come on now.
He couldn't have spoken to his daughter like that.
Oh, you better believe, because she would have to stop coming. When he was actually, it seemed like it just went. There was no limit. There was no limit. And it's so sad to see that you just put that out there like that. It didn't matter how this boy was functioning. It did. Listen. It's bad enough that you did nothing for him while he was in school.
Right.
None of this you can take credit for. Him being in Yale, you could not take credit for that. Oh, because you were in jail, you supported. You couldn't support him. He's struggling to do all of this on his own. He's even working 2-3 jobs. Yo.
Yeah.
And you still put the pressure as though it was his fault. No, you out of control. You out of control. The other thing that was a downside for me was just, like you all said, just not knowing when to say when, and becoming and thinking you're kind of invincible. Unfortunately, because you did it the first time and you kind of got away with it by the skin of your teeth, mind you, you then decided you were going to go back. And, to much his credit, like Shanti said, he made sure that, his friend got out, especially the friend with the kid. He made sure he got out. But, it's really, really, really a bad position to be in as a young person. All right, Shanti, let's talk about this ending.
All right, so because I had to watch this particular scene a couple of times. One of the main one with the mouth, it's always one that they got to help to sell the weed. And see, this is why I be telling people that weed be getting people more than the coke and the heroin and all of that. They can say he asked too many questions, So he got ran up on by
Kmart.
Yeah, got ran up on by another set. They pressed him, and in order to save himself, he gave up where Rob and the stash was. Because I was like, well, it looks like he's with this car that just pulled up real quick, but it don't look like he's with this car. And then I had to think back to the scene when he was out there selling and the cars pulled up on him. So it's like, all right, so to spare myself and save myself, I now got to give up my connect. So you stand there and you argue with him. This car pulls up. And instead of y'all just going and taking the money and the drugs, you now kill him. Stupid. Probably didn't even get the money and the drugs. Probably didn't even get all of it. And this is how people don't think. He was making this. You also killed the chemist, stupid. You also killed the person. He was the ultimate connect. He wasn't Ghost and Tommy, where they was still someone above them. They still needed a connect and they were just the main distributors. No, he was the chemist. So now you just went and took whatever was there and that's it. So once y'all sell that, y'all back to what you were doing prior to that. Dumb. But now you did that, and it's like no matter how careful you try to be, you can never be too careful. Because his whole thing was making sure nobody's tailing you, making sure, because when the friend said Kamar's outside, he's like, what did he tell you? And he was like, I don't know, I guess so. And the friend was a little nonchalant for me, but I was like, okay. But that was just really, really, really sad. Like, no matter how on point I try to be, there's still a way somebody can slip through the cracks. And now I got. I ain't got no gun on me. You not even, this how, when you went outside, he said, you ain't no thug, you not. Because even when a friend gave you the gun, you gave the gun back. And it's like, but you trying to protect yourself from even this person. You know, but it's just like, you not strapped, you couldn't even make it back down to the basement. It was just so like, when they showed the scene of him kind of cornered up in the living room, and I was just like, oh, come on. And you just heard the gunshots, and you see the other guy start just standing there like, dag. What are you dagging for? This is because of you. You brought them there. The only thing you didn't do was literally pull the trigger, you know, but you did, but then you didn't, you know, so that was just like, wow. And then that's when I realized it was based on a true story. But it's this mother who worked her behind off. She done hid information from her son so that her son would have a little bit of doubt in his father. And she was hoping that little doubt would have helped him to say, listen, I'm not being bothered with trying to save my father. Let me go live my life. She done worked hard and all this only for her son to end up in a typical hood situation anyway. Tragic.
Wow. Ainsley.
Yeah, the ending, I had to watch it to end because I was like, because you don't see him get shot at the end. But taking it back even further, with the couple who had a picture of his father with the gun and would say, listen, we don't believe the cops want to switch out the gun because one of the things his father had, don't think it could even fire anything. You know, I was trying to understand that scenario and, you know, why didn't it come forth? And then I realized his mother knew about it and didn't say anything. And that whole, you know, when he's sitting on the stairs and he asked her about it, and, you know, he said, it basically was like Shanti said, you know, I wanted, you know, want you to really to go about your business how you like she really wanted him to, you know. You did enough already for the community. Tom, you need to step up and do what you got to do. And I was trying to understand that dynamic because all this time I'm thinking there's going to be some evidence that's going to clear the father to get him out of jail. I'm not thinking that really he's going to be found. We're going to know what's going to happen after the fact, you know. But, you know, and I think that was more like the turning point and realized so that he, you know, he gave his friend the out. And say, listen, here's you know, you got a son, you know, you get out. It's enough. As he said, I think it's about 25,000. Enough for you to do something legit, straight. You say, I'm going to give you some money later on. Of course, you know that ain't going to never happen. But at least he put himself in that situation. I'm not going to put you and your son in the same situation I am with my father. Go straight, because this right here, it ain't happening right. At least enough common sense for that.
Right.
But you know, I guess in the drug world, you know, when you gotta deal with people you really don't know, and you know, stuff happens. It's just stuff like this gonna happen. You know, somebody asking a question, why you got moved? Where's this coming from? Why I got moved so fast? You know, the hint was there. And so when the cars run up, at first I thought it was the police. Run up on, come on. I was thinking, okay, well, the police got him. So I was thinking it's going to be a police run up on him when, you know, when it went to get, you know, get him. I thought it was going to be the police, but then when I see the guns and the mask and stuff like that, then I said, oh no, they going in try to do some damage, in which they did. Also, I also wonder whatever happened. Two things. The friend that was in the house, the one who had the gun, you don't know whatever happened to him.
Yeah, they show him running. They show him throwing the gun down.
Yeah, but I mean, after that, we don't know.
After that, yeah, they don't give us a synopsis as to what happened with him.
Yeah, and I also want to know, like, then who wrote this story? What perspective is the story coming from? You know what I'm saying? Is it the mother, the friend, someone who got to know?
I think it's from the book.
Huh?
I think it's from whoever wrote the book.
Yeah, but I'm like, what is his
connection? But who is he? You know, how do you know this story? Type of thing.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to find that out. But overall, because at first I was like, did he really die? Because then you see him as a kid by the beach, and you realize, okay, that was his somber place, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And nice, theatrical moment. That's how you gonna end the movie, so to speak. Yeah, but it was like, oh, that's how we're gonna end, because of course you don't want to glorify. Okay, selling drugs. That's the way to go, y'all. Do that,
Right.
you know. But yet, he still did graduate from Yale, and like the professor in prep school, remember he said it's time for you, the kids. You need to put your face need to be
Face on the wall.
Face on the
That's
wall.
right.
So his
It was
face
on the
did,
wall, all
man.
right.
It's on the wall. He did made it. We went to Yale. That was an accomplishment, but he could have did so much more. Yeah.
Okay. So I have to say, when this came out last year, when they showed the preview of the father, with the being so demanding, I didn't want to watch it. I was like, I'm not watching this. This is not worth my time. I'm not getting into all of this black stuff. I really did. I was like, no, I'm not dealing with this. When y'all brought it up to look at the movie, I was like, I sure hope this ain't the movie, because I don't feel like looking at this movie. So I kind of, I worked my way through it. For me, it was very slow. And I found myself kind of weaving out of interest. And maybe because, again, from the beginning, I really didn't want to see it. As it started getting toward the end, and I started seeing some peaks and valleys for me. When he messed up and was able to graduate, but then the lady rescinded her offer, I was pissed. I was like, yo, you just worked your way into that. All your brilliance, my mother used to always say, you so smart till you stupid. Yes, she used to always say that. She said, Stephanie, not me personally, but she would say about this, they're so smart till they stupid. And that's the way I felt. I was like, you literally gave up for what? So now you can go to you graduate from Yale, but you can't go no further on your own right now, because you're gonna need that recommendation that they're not giving you. So although they didn't find anything on you, because you were found stealing to use the stuff, and even though you brought it back, that lady was disappointed. She ain't sticking her neck out for you. So I was really annoyed.
Yeah.
When we got to the end, and they had this kid who was asking all these questions, I said, Lord, this is gonna be the downfall of this boy. And I thought he was gonna go to jail. And
that's what I thought.
I was like, all right, he's headed to jail. So now you're gonna switch places with the father. The father egged you on, but yet the father dies and does not know that you don't fulfill your dream. He's gone. He don't know nothing to how he done messed up your whole life.
Yeah.
So we get to this part where, again, they jump out the car, like you say, Ainsley. And I actually thought when they were pulling up, I thought it was some detectives, because they were in a plain clothes, like
right.
I was like, oh, okay, they gonna snatch him up. And when they came out with the guns and the masks, I was like, Lord, just don't let them shoot him. When you heard the gunfire, all I kept saying was, I sure hope this is one of those movies where where they show him in a wheelchair, or in a hospital bed, or he's learned his lesson. And unfortunately, there's no lesson to be learned, because you're dead.
Right.
And when I saw the girlfriend crying, I was like, oh Lord, they didn't kill this boy. And I was at that point, I was ready to cry. I was very disappointed as to how this story ended, knowing that this was a true life story. And there's no, all that brilliance goes down the drain. I always say something when we're doing this news on this due time. I've gotten to the point where I always say these kids can't make it out their own house. Y'all worry about the pedophile. Y'all worry about the teachers and the coaches and the strangers. You can't even make it out from your parents. And this was a pure example of two parents working on opposite ends of this boy's life. You've got the mother who's fighting, willing to do anything and gonna die encouraging him to go to school, and you got the father who only cares about getting out of jail. You don't care nothing about him, you don't care nothing about his future, and he in the middle is trying to fight for both ends, my future and my father's life. And even when he you think about when he decided he was going to do the study to help his father in the brain cancer, because remember he kept saying I'm studying cancer, I'm studying cancer. He's doing all of this to raise this money for medication, and he's doing all of this to raise money to try to get his father out, and all of this for naught. The father dies anyway, and you end up dying. All of this for naught. All of this for nothing. So it was a very, very, it was a heartbreaking ending. It was a tragic ending. Too bad. It was a true story, but in all honesty, it would be a true story anyway, because whether the concept was the same or whether the exact thing played out, it's the same. So it's a very tragic ending to a story that could have been much more promising, a life that could have been much more promising. So I really wish that it had ended differently for him. We got to check in from our Deacon Diallo. Hey, Deacon Diallo, thank you so much for joining us. Shanti,
I got a question for y'all. All right, I got to know this. What's your opinion of Mary J's acting in this movie?
She was one step higher than she was on Ghost, because she didn't have that many lines.
I was thinking the same explanation. She was not a queen pin. She was not the main character. She had to be a lot more subtle. So she was able to blend in, which is her ability in the acting field, just blend in.
What about you, Ainsley? What did you think?
I kind of agree, because I was looking at it like, all right, suppose that was Angela Bassett playing that role, or suppose that was like, what's her name? How They Kill and Get Away? That
Loretta
Devine.
Viola Davis.
Yeah, Viola Davis. It's supposed to
Loretta
somebody
Devine.
like that playing that role. How would they have done it? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That dynamic and whatnot. I think it wouldn't compare.
No.
She got through it. She got through it.
Right.
Got through it.
And they could have done without her. Who owes her a favor? That's all I'm asking. That's the question I want to know. That's the answer I want to know. Who owes her a favor? She shouldn't be doing nothing more. See that role the mother played? She should have had that role.
Oh, okay.
The mother that was helped into the bed.
Yes.
Dying at the end. Yeah, okay.
Who owed her a favor? Oh my goodness. All right. So here we are. Let's do this click it or kick it, because we're about to go into phase 2 of this particular episode of My 2 Cents. Shantice, kick it or click it?
Click it.
All righty. Ainsley. All right.
Click it.
Okay. I give it a click. I give it a click it as well. So we got 3 click it's. And I'm coming back to this. So we've got a unanimous click it for both movies, Back in Action as well as Rob Peace. So it was worth the 2 movies. It was worth watching them. So thank you so much. All right. So let's go back to where I started as to when we left off last 2 weeks ago. We were reviewing for the Oscars.
I know.
That sad state of affair. You know, we started doing this to see if they were diverse. The awards shows and the awards industry was diverse, if they were diverse. And the answer is a resounding hit it.
No.
Not only
no.
Yeah, and I think that's the key. Disgustingly, I want to read to you some of the movies that we reviewed last year. So all of the award shows, the Oscars, the Golden Globes, the Emmys,
the SAG Awards, right?
SAGs, all Writers Guild Awards, all of those awards in 2005 focused on film and TV for 2024. So in 2024, we reviewed the series Reasonable Doubt and Power Book 2 Ghost. We reviewed The Cleaning Lady as a series. We reviewed Beauty in Black as a series. We reviewed Fight Night as a series. We reviewed Good Times as a series. And for movies, we reviewed Bad Boys for Life, Shirley, Bad Boys Ride or Die, Beverly Hills Cop, so Foley, and Bob Marley. Those were just some of the ones that we reviewed. Do you know, not one of those series and or movies were nominated in any awards show. Not one. Not only was not one nominated, but not in one show. So we got to talking, and
Oscar so white.
and they're living by this. Now, they did, of course, come up with one or two nominations that have a Black actor in it or a minority actor in it, but nothing. We were dry, and we can't figure out why we, the minorities, just don't take up and make our own award shows. We have been talking about this. Shantice and I have been asking this question for over a decade. Figured out why y'all gonna boycott and picket and complain. There's nowhere in the world I would possibly be paying to be in any of these unions and organizations, and we are not represented at all. So we got to talking.
Yep.
And for those of you who know us, we did the Tiffany Gospel Awards for 7 years until God moved us, because we all had other things that God wanted us to do, clearly. But it was a very successful 7 years from a bunch of nobodies.
Amen.
Nobodies. Nobodies. So we got to talking, and Ainsley said, well, I said, well, we should, why can't I really wish we had money. We could do our own. And Ainsley said, why don't we? So we have mutually agreed that was the best suggestion we could have ever had. And Ainsley knows our ability, because Ainsley was a big part of the Tiffany Gospel Awards. Shantice was a medium tyke. And she would aid us, she would help us. So she knows Anika, who sits in the background. She was a big part. She walked in as a big part of the Tiffany Gospel Awards. And what we decided to do was have our own awards. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have our own awards virtually.
Yes.
So, Ainsley, I'll let you talk right now, and
Yeah, all right. So idea is like I mentioned Oscar so white. seem like we are not represented, by the broader community, and when you look at some of the movies that are nominated, and I'm like, are you really serious? I mean, this is what, um, for example, what was the movie we saw last time? It was so gross.
The Substance, which was
The
trash.
Substance, yeah. Now you're gonna say The Substance up against the movie with Kevin Hart, Sam Jackson, Taraji
Right.
Henson, Don Cheadle. To me, there is no comparison whatsoever.
Right. I agree.
And you mean to tell me that this is up and there's no mention of this Fight Night in it?
Right.
I'm like, oh, come on. There's a problem with that. There's a serious problem with that. Now, I did a little research. There is back in the day, it used to be called the Black Filmmakers Foundation, BFF. Now it's called, I think it's the American Black Filmmakers.
Right.
They have their awards and they kind of recognize us, which is okay, it's good. But still, we like to recognize, I think we could recognize more of our own minorities, those that didn't get mentioned and stuff, who are worthy. We want to show appreciation and show honor those where honor needs to be done, and it's way overdue. Right. So I think this way of doing it virtually is great because everybody can stay right where they are at home. We can do this and we can make this happen. And we got the will to make it happen. We have the technology to make it happen. We got the heart to make it happen. We're gonna make it happen.
Absolutely.
So, and that's what we're going to plan on doing. Not just in front of the camera, but behind the camera. For those who are in this business, the few people you see in front of the camera, there's many lot more people behind the scenes that make this
right.
And we want to give them honor too. Like, but most people don't pay attention to who the producers are, who the directors are. Keep positions like that, which is crucial. It won't happen without their input.
Right.
So,
right.
We want to recognize all of that. And so, yeah, that's the plan. We're going to make it happen.
All righty. Shantice, what you got to say about this here?
I'm excited. As you stated, this is something we've put out there for years. And we ain't got no money. So if we could think of this, I don't understand what their problem is. Because if everybody just gave $2,000, they could have such a dynamic, memorable award show every year to acknowledge each other, because you have so many actresses like Taraji P. Henson and Regina King who would take turns babysitting each other's kids while the other one went on auditions. It's like we're all in this together. I would love, then you have the clusters who they only work if the whole group can work. So a lot of times you'll see the whole group in the same type of movies or something together. And it's because they work together to make sure that everyone in this clique stays employed, so why would you not even want to look over at your fellow brother or sister and be like, you know what, you did that thing in that movie. We want to recognize you, not even about me, but I saw what you were up against and you got the role. You killed it. You did that. So it's like, I'm really excited to do this. And again, I've invited a few people to come on here with us. And one of the main reasons why some of them haven't is because they didn't want to watch the movies we were reviewing. And I'm like, I can understand. I ain't want to watch it. But because we're trying to keep up with what they're doing already that's established to show that they're not diverse enough, we had to take the time to watch and to be able to get to this point where we say, okay, enough is enough. We're going to start our own, because we've been doing this enough cycles to see that not only are y'all not acknowledging the minorities, y'all are putting up trash.
Right.
Y'all not even putting up some real good.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's a movie on Netflix.
The Substance.
Yeah, there's a movie on Netflix now called It Ends With Us. Mainly Caucasians in the movie. Movie is great. The storyline is great. And I'm like, you didn't even put something like that up. That is, if y'all have one, y'all get the time, watch it. It Ends With Us. It's a really good movie. But you didn't even nominate something like that. So it's like, what are you doing? You just go and you go any, meeny, money, and then whatever your finger lands on is what you, or whoever could pay you to acknowledge them, because I that might be going on too.
Yep.
Whoever's paying you to acknowledge them, but meanwhile everybody's paying dues to be in this union that puts on these award shows. It's like, come on, we have to stop. So I'm excited. I'm excited to get this started and see what we're gonna be reviewing.
Okay. Katie, Nika says, I miss the Tiffany's, and so do we. Katie says, sounds good to me. Anika says, and it can bring more awareness to those movies that are not even promoted well. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Katie's agreeing. Here's the other thing. You know, we look at things like the NAACP and, different award shows like that. And like Ainsley said, this other organization, this Black organization that focuses on the minorities, and they're not People's Choice Awards. And that's what the Tiffany's was, and that's what we're bringing back. We're bringing back the People's Choice Awards. What do we think? We're the ones that's streaming. We're the ones that's paying this money to stream or go to the movies. We're the ones who are watching.
Right.
And yet, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We don't matter. So we're giving you an opportunity. You know, Ainsley talked about there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that we don't know. Shantice and I, we're credits people. Yes, we will sit and watch the movie, whether it's a good song playing, whether it's silent, but we're going to watch the credits go up.
Mm-hmm.
And
I watch it too.
I
I sit in the movie. I wait till everybody be walking out. I be sitting there. I pay for this movie. I'm going to see all of it. The last part, you know, the lights come on. I'm sitting there.
Okay. Well, then that's 3 for 3.
Yeah.
We're all credits people. And I don't know if some of you understand that Regina King, she's stepped behind the camera and she's doing her directing thing. Eric LaSalle from Coming to America, Slow
Glow.
Yes, he stepped from in front of the camera when he was on ER. He is now directing and executive producing things like Chicago PD and things like that. We've got a lot of people that we love to watch in front of the camera, actually behind the camera, and they're getting no notice. They're getting no notice. So
Right.
We want to make sure that they get the attention that we want to see them get. Now, another comment that was made by myself was, you know, we're too small that even if we were to have the money, would these people really come out? So here's the test. You know, we're gonna put it out there. We've got an email address for you, and it's, write this down. Anika's gonna put it in the chat. The number 2 cents awards at yahoo.com. My 2 cents awards at yahoo.com. And we are taking nominations for minorities, that Black and brown people. That's the minorities that we're focusing on.
Amen.
Okay, that's the minorities we're focusing on. If you're Asian, you're a minority.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you're Indian, you're a minority. Okay, if you're Hispanic, you're a minority. If you're Black, you're a minority. African American, whatever you want to call it. Those are the minorities we are talking about. Okay, so listen, here's how it goes. Whether the movie or show or documentary, if it is represented in any manner, in any role, if you feel that individual did a fantastic job and you want to nominate them, send that nomination straight into my 2 cents awards at yahoo.com. We're going to start compiling a list, and make sure you put your name, your cell phone number, and your email address. And we're going to be spitting out as we accumulate the nominations. We're going to be spitting them out, and it'll be time for you to vote soon. So everything is for 2024, Because if we do 2025, we're going to cheat everybody behind us. So 2024, whether it was a movie, a series, a limited series, or a full series, whether it was any type of film project, if it was a comedy special, if the person was starring, supporting, directing, executive producing, producer, those are the nominations we are taking. All right. Remember, this is you. This is you who's making these nominations. Okay. So it's the People's Choice Award. This is what we're going for. Let the industry do what they do. We're going to see how well we do. So, you know what? If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired like we are, make sure you cast your vote. Because trust me when I tell you, like Ainsley said, we did Fight Night. The whole cast was worthy of nominations.
Yes.
Yep.
The whole cast, and not one of them, not one.
That's a quiet shame.
If there's a movie or a series or something that you want us to review, send it in. If we got time to do it, we'll happily do it. Okay, but it does not have to be a full cast. Now, what's one that we can talk about? Well, they have this new Zero. My goodness,
yeah,
Angela Bassett on Netflix. That's for 25, but I'm just using it as an example. She's in that. She's a part of that cast. She's the lead role in the cast. So and there's another African American guy. I started watching it, and he's doing a pretty good job. Never heard of him before. I don't think I've ever seen him before. This is what we want. Listen, you've got all those power, the Power franchise. Look at all the talent that's sitting up in there.
Yeah.
But because it's hood, ain't nobody think about us. So if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and you want to see this go forward, as of today, okay, make sure you give us your contact information so we can hit you up. We don't want to come to your door. We're not sending you no mail. You ain't got to worry about us. We just want to keep you posted, okay? 2024. It could be biographical. It could be a documentary. It could be, like I said, limited series, a full series, a comedy show, a comedy special. It's up to you. Okay. And we'll accumulate them. And if we get enough nominations and votes, then we'll put it out there. Okay. We're looking forward to this. So thank you so much. We'll be back next week, God spares, and we will be letting you know nice and early what we will be reviewing. So make sure you hang out. Let's look out for also, if you want to get on that mailing list, make sure you send your email address and your name to my2centsawards@yahoo.com. And then we can put you on the mailing list. Okay. It's your girl, Pastor Steph.
Chauncey.
That Brooklyn guy, Ainsley Harris.
And thank you so much, Anika, for holding us down in the background. Could not do it without you. Check you in the morning on It's Due Time with Pastor Steph.
Yes. Thanks. Good night.